No, Twisted Fishing, you haven't missed anything yet. Ashley's having issues. He's gonna have to get her a Starlink like I do, I'm afraid.
Yeah, Starlink is nice. It will
Okay.
definitely solve some the problems.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got Starlink about 2 years ago, I guess now, just with all the tournaments and traveling, and we started doing some of that one-on-one stuff. So it's really worked good. We got it goes in a Pelican box and can either be 12 volt or we even got an inverter on the boat. But especially a lot of the places we go with no cell phone service, even Starlinks gave us a good way to do streams. So
Yep, that's why we started using Starlink when we came on to TikTok and started doing lives and whatnot. What we had before was just not reliable and holding a signal, and so I'm like, let's just get it, and it's been worth it through and through because we have no fiber optics here in my area, and a lot of different providers don't even come to our area, or it's already oversaturated because there's such limited options. So Starlink's been a lifesaver for us.
You want to start out how we got started?
yeah, so I guess we got to go way, way back into I don't know, 12 years ago, something like that.
Right.
So I was working driving a semi, like a day-to-day cab, delivering food, kind of like a Cisco or US Foods. And I was always been a pleasure boater, lived on the river. And while I was working there, the first couple weeks of my job driving, I met Liz down in southern Missouri. So I live in west central Illinois, just north of St. Louis, about 2.5 hours. But then on my route, I stayed in Poplar Bluff, which is about 5 hours from here, and met her and then moved her up. And then during that, a guy that I worked with took me out catfish. He's like, hey, you look at this big fish I caught, right across from your house. I know you live in this small town, and, show me the picture. I'm like, man, that's crazy. We'll have to go out sometime. So like a week or two later, we went out. I had an old pontoon that I bought with a buddy in high school. And the first fish we caught was 50 pounds. So after we caught the fish, it kind of changed my life. And I got into catfishing and started doing tournaments. Monsters on the Ohio was the first big tournament. That would have been 2012, I think. It was that first one I went to. And like 200 boats, and didn't know what I was doing, didn't really know anything, but it was just a lot of fun, and it just kept growing. I did a lot of traveling to tournaments and met a lot of new people. And then Twisted Cat Outdoors kind of came around, and I just had a lot of the right people kind of push us to grow that. And the first couple of years, it was really just pretty regional within an hour or two of our house. And then it just started to grow and grow. And we both put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, I guess, into it, and now this is the 12th year. I quit my job, now work for Sea-Ark as a special projects manager, and then also do Twisted Cat, Sea-Ark events. I'm part owner in Rip and Lip, so I'm pretty involved in the catfishing world. And then Liz just became a third grade teacher this year.
Yep, so I do that and also do all the tournament stuff. If we have like a tournament far away, I'll teach Friday, and right at 3:30, Rhett and I will hit the road and meet them wherever they are. So it could be a long night, and then I'm there for Saturday morning to get the paperwork to the guys and do the weigh-in, and then we come home the next day.
Yeah, it's nonstop.
Nonstop.
Well, congratulations on your new career. I hope you're loving that.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I worked in kindergarten as a teacher's assistant 1 year, but I didn't start until October. So the kindergartners were already like pretty well adjusted to the rules. So I felt like I had a pretty easy time. I loved my teacher. Like, I still miss working with her.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Ashley.
Ashley's back.
We'll see for how long it works. It's super slow.
Well, 12 years is a long
Try-
time. That's really cool.
try
I didn't
this.
know that Twisted Cat had been around that long. So
Yeah, like I said, it's grown a lot over the last couple of years, as we've grown to go from, now we're doing, the Bama Blues. We took that event over in Alabama. We do a tournament in Savannah, Tennessee. We went to Texas for the first time this year. And then our championship is, believe it or not, in Morgan City, Louisiana on the Chaffalaya River. So when we seen you guys down in Venice, we had just came from Morgan City like the day before, which is really about 2 hours. It's about 2 hours. It's not a great way to get there because Venice is in the middle of nowhere, but it's a cool place, and super excited to have a championship there, something really different. And kind of the goal with Twisted Cat is, we want to keep it. We don't really want to have that like the Vicksburg incident or the tournament that we're a part of. We MC and Liz is like the DJ when boats come in, but we want to keep it like that grassroots and get more people involved, because it's really, we call it a tournament, and it is a tournament, but it's also an event where you can learn a lot, especially if you're new in the sport. You can learn so much from fishing a tournament, meet a lot of new friends, and I think it really makes you a better angler because you get to see what other people do. So still very competitive, but it's still a lot of fun. So
absolutely. Ashley, looks like she's sleeping.
there she is.
Hey girl, yeah, Venice is a really
Do you
good
want me
time.
to try this thing?
Yeah, you can go ahead and try that. And see if it'll work.
Or if it
Everyone
kicks
that's
me out again.
watching, we're trying to get our wheel to go to do the giveaway drawing, and of course we have it on Ashley's computer, and she's having technical difficulties with her Wi-Fi. So if you're wondering what's going on, we're kind of back and forth.
I don't know if it's gonna work. It's still just circling.
Just take a video of it and we'll post it later. Okay, I'm gonna ask another question. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So we are in, and maybe I said this. So we live in a small town in Warsaw, Illinois, right where Illinois, Iowa, and Missouri come together on the Mississippi. So, like 20 yards behind where we're sitting is Pool 20 of the Mississippi River, which is the last place you can catch a blue cat. Because after here, it's the biggest dam. And then you're in Kentucky. Like we're at in Kentucky.
So we live technically in Crittenden County. It's a really small county in western Kentucky. So we're about an hour, I guess you'd say, northeast of Paducah. And so we have the Ohio River, the Illinois is just across from us, Cumberland River, Tennessee River, Kentucky Lake, and Lake Barkley. So we've got a lot of water within an hour or less. And then I know the confluence of the Mississippi and the Ohio is a little bit further west than Paducah as well, but we've never fished there yet. So I think that's kind of interesting that Charlie hasn't wanted to go there or hasn't chose to go there yet. My first time fishing the Mississippi River was at the Twisted Cat tournament in Crothersville, I think it is, Missouri. Is that right? Yeah. That was wild. That's like the Ohio River. I'm used to some current, but that's next level current right there. And bumping it was no joke. It was rough up there, but so that was interesting. We were bumping with 16-ounce sinkers. If that tells y'all anything, that's a big amount of weight. And we ended up getting, I think, 7th at that tournament. So that was kind of cool. It was a nice experience.
Yeah, no, it's that whole stretch, we've built just a big following the last 12 years. And especially like when you talk, Perryville, Missouri, Caruthersville, New Madrid, Memphis, Helena, that's, you always get the best of the best because that's like the elite when you can go to the Mississippi and fish that big water, the fast water, that treacherous water. and you've caught some big fish on it too.
Mhm.
But it's a lot different than the normal. It's not as to us, like we love anchoring and dragging, because bumping is kind of a lot of work,
Yeah, it is.
but it can be rewarding.
Right. And that's the funny thing was we lost so many sinkers that day that we had to start taping them together because it's just, here most of the time Charlie can bump with a 4 ounce and he's good. Like he's touching bottom, it's all good to go. Me, I'm typically a 6 ounce and the same time, as he is, because I'm not as good at it as he is. But knowing that the Mississippi and it was moving so fast, we had to use that much weight to keep it bumping the bottom. And so that was definitely a learning curve. And I think he had fished some other, but that was my first big tournament. I'd been to, kind of like the local ones, benefit tournaments, but that was my first like bigger tournament. And you guys did a really good job of just putting that on. It was it was neat to see what the bigger tournaments was like and how they were running. Oh, we got two Ashley. There she is. She said, I'm going outside.
I done shut off the computer. I went outside. So
So Miss Cindy says to make the championship with Twisted Cat, it's best. I'm not sure. Oh shoot. I'm not sure what the rest of that.
Maybe
So I guess what does it take to make the championship would be my takeaway from that question.
Oh yeah.
Since
You
it's
answer
5
that?
points.
So it's the best four. I don't know why that popped up. It's your best 4 events. So we have, I think, 13 total. 13 total tournaments, and then you can fish them all, or you can fish 4. But we take your best 4. So we want it to be somewhat difficult to get in, like the best of the best, and that really truly makes it the best of the best. And then
it gets harder every year too, just because we get new anglers in there, and people learn so much over the year, and they get better and better.
yeah, there's a ton of good anglers, and then what also is hard is it's the top 50 anglers, so it's not the top 50 boats. So like let's say that me, Liz, and Ashley are a team, and we make the top 50, and we're in first, second, and third, then technically that's one boat. So we could all 3 split up and then get another person. To be a partner, you have to at least fish 3 events. So it's usually like 22 to 25 boats is kind of the average of what ends up being.
Okay. We have another question. So, of course, this podcast has a lot to do with conservation. That's what we're trying to bring awareness on. So Edward says, what more can we do as directors to protect the fish or encourage people to do to protect fish during tournaments? Is there any precautions or anything that you guys suggest or do as directors or encourage the anglers to be doing to help keep the fish healthy to go back in the water? I know that's important to you, Alex, just watching the tournaments, and being in, I guess I've been in 2 now, Twisted Cat tournaments. So I know that you guys do discuss that and the importance of that, but to answer the question.
Yeah, I mean, really, like over the years, we've learned a lot. You know what I mean? My very first big fish was probably like 35 pounds, and I caught it. I was in a pontoon. Actually, you were here at the house. I was super excited. Didn't have a live well. Just got into catfishing. Didn't know anything about CPR, and I remember that fish laid in the bottom of the boat for probably 20 minutes or more.
The pontoon all the way back.
Yeah, because I drove it over here. I mean, you talk about like redneck, it was an old pontoon. Like I said, my very beginning. And then you just learn, as 12 years ago, tournaments were still very new to a higher level. So, a lot of people didn't know much. Live wells weren't really talked about a lot. Now the last couple of years, we've really learned like what's best. Water circulation, getting nasty water out of the boat. Oxygen can help in the summer months, but what I've learned, I would say by far, is fresh water. Oxygen will do no good if you don't put fresh water in your boat. So, 5 years ago, I remember a Crothersville tournament where there's a couple boats that come, they open their live well lids, and they had a couple dead fish, but their water looked like a sewage pond. So that has changed. People have learned, and people have gotten really good. I mean, we hardly see a dead fish or have issues. It's usually something weird, maybe a foul hook. 3 or 4 years ago, we had Western Illinois University come to every tournament. They did diet samples, tagging. The goal for us too as directors is to learn as much as possible about the fish that we're chasing. We want to keep them alive so our 11-year-old, when he gets older, can chase big fish too. So I guess, Edward, to answer your question, we've learned a lot, and the anglers are doing very, very well. And even with the new anglers that come in, they get to talk to a lot of the people at the captain's meeting and what they do. But my definitely number one advice is fresh water. Just like Sakoti said, oxygen and circulation of water.
Yeah.
The catfish are very hardy, but you still want to, take good care of them, especially burping them if you're in deep water. Liz got a couple of videos about burping down in Venice, and that was nasty. But we were catching some fish in 70 foot of water, and you've got to burp those fish or they will not make it. So hopefully that answers his question. But our definitely number one goal is to get these fish, to catch them, to keep them alive and healthy, get them back so we can catch them again, another day when we, the next year that we come back to that event. But yeah, so that was a great question. Great question.
Absolutely. Let's see. What is the biggest challenge in organizing and running a successful tournament series?
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna give you some.
That's
Thank
a
you.
loaded question. What would you say? Because so I always say at the tournaments, like I'm the guy that's always up talking, but she does a lot of talking on the mic. But like Liz is the background things that you don't see, that people don't understand. Like a lot of people, that run tournaments maybe once a year, just want to get involved. You have to, a couple of things. You really can't fish your own event. Because if you are, then you're not doing enough stuff in the background to kind of understand and care of people. There's times you're up till midnight or 1 o'clock the night before.
Yeah, I think just making sure everything's clear, everything's ready. There's a lot of prep that goes in behind these tournaments. Like he said, it's not only us, but even our 11-year-old, Alex's parents are, getting everything ready, from the merchandise to, it's a lot different from tournament number 1, from just a little tote box that you could carry with one hand. And now we tote an entire enclosed trailer that takes us probably 2 hours to at least just get everything out of there and set up. And that's not like all the paperwork and stuff. So,
and I think putting people in the right place, I used to do pictures with my phone, then I bought a nice Sony camera and just learned, I can't do it all and be good at everything. So, we luckily just accidentally found Tom Stoles, our photographer, and he does awesome pictures, which in my opinion is one of the biggest things. Because if an angler gets an awesome picture, whether it's a 5-pound fish and he's with his dad or their son or their whatever, that's a memory that'll last a lifetime. And a lot of these pictures, go on profiles and stuff like that. So we want to make sure they get a good picture. We usually hire a videographer. And then, like I said, we have so many new people. Last year, we had around 1,100 unique anglers. And we have a lot of new people each year as it's growing. And we get calls daily, but when you get to the event, we don't want to ever disqualify. What's our number one DQ?
Too many fish in live well. And usually those people weren't at the non-mandatory captain's meeting that we have, which is unfortunate. We make them, non-mandatory because we understand work and all that. But those are usually the ones that get DQ'd, and it's the too many fish in a live well. But back to your question, I think just running it like pretty cut and dry, where you have clear rules to follow, and all the anglers, they come to know that, and they know if they have any questions out on the water, they can, give a call to us, and we set them in the right direction.
Yeah, another thing is being a tournament director is not, I mean, I don't know how to say this, but I've got friendships over the years because I wouldn't bend a rule, or, and you can't be like that. I mean, if the rule is this, that's what the rules got to stay. You can't change it for a friend or anybody.
Yeah.
And I guess I always said, if they're still not my friend because of something like that, then I guess we weren't friends anyways. But, you just got to stick to your guns on everything. And I think that's what's helped Twisted Cat be so successful is, Liz and I, this is the rules. The rules are up. If you have questions, ask, and I always tell them people during the event, and you guys are at the Bama Blues, I mean, just call us. Like, don't talk to somebody that says, well, I think it's 10 rods or this or 6 fish, but it wasn't. Like, just make that phone call and be 100% sure, because, a lot of the times it's like second place. I mean, it's people
Always
in the money, and it's just like, and it's terrible because you have live stream going, you have a crowd of spectators watching. Like, you can't be kind of quiet about it, because usually I'm wearing a mic and I got to talk, and everybody knows, well, what's going on? Well, they got DQ'd because of this. And gosh, it's a rough
nice
thing.
Though is we do it respectfully, and almost, I want to say everyone that I can think of that's been DQ'd has fished more Twisted Cat tournaments. And, they, after that heat of the moment, yes, they're upset, of course. They apologize. They understand what the rule was and that they didn't follow the rule, and we see their faces again, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And that is something that people need
sure.
to understand too. If you're new to tournaments, especially, that the rule of the overs and unders, they will check. And a good tournament director is going to check and make sure that the length of those fish are what they're supposed to be, because someone shouldn't be winning first place if they've got too many overs. And that's the one thing that I do. I did like seeing that you're measuring, you're making sure. And if you're not sure, if your stick doesn't match theirs, go in early and make sure, because you don't want to get disqualified based on something that's preventable. Yeah, you're going to use up some of your time, but it may be worth it in the long run. I think, that's.
Yeah, and that's something that with Kevin Parks and the ACA, we started, probably 4 years ago, because we were using Check-It sticks was the best stick I could find. And I started noticing, like, there were some that were pretty far apart from each other. So Parks, which is awesome, he's been a sponsor, and to do what he did and make all the tournament directors a certified ruler, and then having the same lot with all the other rulers with the company that he gets them from, and he sells them for $125, which is cheap for that ruler. And then that this is the same ruler that these tournament directors are going to use. Let's not try to do something different. But we DQ'd the last boat at Bama Blues, and like I said, I learned a long time ago that I can't let my dad or a helper, like, I don't want my dad to get chewed out from some angler because they had one that they thought was this or that. Like, I make sure that's my decision. So I'm emceeing sometimes a Liz, and I'm measuring every single fish, because I don't want to put anybody else in that situation to have that confrontation with an angler. It's not a fun, like I said, I don't want to DQ anybody ever, but it happens, and it has to happen, unfortunately.
Yep. And that's important. Integrity from the director. The rules are the rules. Don't vary from the rules. And I think that, like you said, some feelings might get hurt, but the integrity of the rules are stood by because of you making that choice. And I think that's commendable for sure. Miss Cindy said, Whether you have year-end points payout or actual championship event, publicizing payouts gives anglers something to work for if they want to compete for it.
Yeah, so like I said, so that's something new that we started our championship. So we do a $25,000 no entry fee. So that's what's kind of unique with what we're doing. This will be our 4th year doing it. Actually, these are the stickers. Is this year's?
Yeah, 25.
And then Liz came up with the idea is every year you make it, you get a sticker that you made the championship. So, this will be year 4. We've done the top 50, and it started at 10,000. Now it's at 25,000.
Wow.
And there's no entry fee, so we do a sit down dinner and really kind of go all out for the anglers. So it's a ton of money up for grabs, and a ton of
Sometimes
street
prizes,
cred.
too.
Oh, a ton of
bragging
prizes like
rights.
power poles and stuff like that. But it's even like Liz and I talk, like we wish we could fish the trail to see like where we would land against all these anglers, because like
Some heavy hitters.
we want to be out there so bad. Like that's one of the toughest things for us is we want to be out there fishing against everybody and see like where we land. But it's still fun watching everybody. And like after, I'll probably do the points. My mom helps me do the points, and after Fort Madison, it's going to really shake up. And we're only 5. We're only 5 tournaments in, and it's already getting pretty interesting. So it'll come down to the wire, and some people will get knocked out at the last event, which is terrible. But it just kind of shows that there's a lot of people following it, and a lot of people really like that top 50 where you got to be good. It's not a participation, I guess, event of the championship, and it's really, I think, helped grown Twisted Cat over the last 3 years.
That's awesome. So we've got a question from Twisted Fishing. We are new to tournaments. Where can I find a rule book? Is there a place where someone can read the rules for Twisted Cat?
Yeah, so what we changed this year is instead of like a lot of the Facebook stuff, we've integrated everything on the website. So you like for us, you go to twistedcatoutdoors.com and then you click the event you want, because like you guys know, there's every tournament we do is different because it's Channel Cat. Like last weekend was Channel Cat. So we did Channel Cat and flatheads. It's 5 fish limit, and it's usually around a 50-pound bag. The next tournament is Channel Cat, but the tournament before that was 2 overs, 3 unders, and then the next tournament's 3 big fish. So like everyone has their own rules. So usually you just go to that event, find those rules, and 9 times out of 10 people still call, and we just kind of chat and learn. The goal is to answer questions. I had somebody call. They thought it was a 2-rod per person deal for the next weekend tournament that we have, and I said no, it's 3 per person. But we have, like I said, a lot of new people. So we talk about live wells. They might ask questions on, hey, this is the live well I have. What's the best way for me to keep these fish alive? Can I weigh a fish early? Absolutely. They always ask a lot of questions. So it's always fun getting a lot of new anglers because usually once they come and they enjoy it, they always come back. So, and then some of them start traveling. So it's pretty fun.
That's fun. So I think Michael King's talking about the measuring. Is it from Parks Planer boards?
Yes, Parks Planner.
So if you guys are wanting to get your own, what do you call it again? Measuring.
So it's actually, we just call them the rulers, though. It's Kevin Parks. He gave all the like tournaments like a certified one, and then the lot, like this company that he gets the rulers that he makes and does the bump on, he gets out of the same lot, so they're all the exact same. So then he gives me so many that I can sell. So if he's not at the event, then I sell, and we sell them every tournament.
We sell out every tournament. Yeah, especially whenever it's like an over-under tournament every single time.
And you go back to 5-6 years ago and you talk about health of fish, like everything is growing with the sport. People getting serious about majoring, people getting serious about their live wells. So like the sport, and you just go back on Twisted Cat history, it's just constantly growing for more anglers, and even the fish, like it's crazy. Which granted, I think anglers are getting better, but like the fish, the weigh-ins are getting bigger. Like just like I'm from Fort Madison, Iowa to Alabama to Texas, like just the weigh-ins are getting bigger, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think the sport is growing. I'm sure social media helps with the growth. Probably you see more people fishing, on live, and so I think that that's probably got a little bit to do with it. Oh, Michael King says he needs one for his tournament trail, so that might be something he needs to look into. Yeah. So Michael King runs River Rats Catfishing Club in Ohio. So what's your thoughts on trailering? We do have a question about trailering in tournaments and that it's hard on the fish.
We'll get back to that one, Shay. So Edward, that's a great question. I love to answer that question. So for example, trailering, he says that it's very hard on the fish. So I guess I ask, what makes trailering harder on fish than not trailering? So the goal obviously is we want, for example, let's talk about Alton, Illinois. So one of our biggest events is in Alton. The state of Illinois, we have been working with conservation. Actually, I have a meeting tomorrow night with one of the fishery biologists in Quincy, Illinois, with Nate Moore to talk about regulations. But we also need ramps. So like you take Alton, Illinois, from Alton, the next boat ramp is 2 hours down the road, which is in Chester, Illinois. So a tournament out of Alton, when you have 100 boats, you have to allow trailering. Again, we have a lot of things to keep fish healthy and alive. These anglers are extremely good at that. We have a fish hauler that sometimes we do, like in Fort Smith, we do a trailering tournament where when they come back, we weigh in downtown, and then all the fish go into a special truck and trailer. He takes care of the fish, and then he releases them. He's got to get a permit from the state. And usually we have state people there that monitor the fish and all that. We probably did one of the longest trailering tournaments ever. Is that the year that we got fourth?
Mm-hmm.
So we got fourth place at MRM 2 years ago. And it was when the water was really, really low and there wasn't really a lot of boat ramps. So we put it in Greenville, and it's almost 3 hours. I think it is 3 hours.
Yeah.
We had to be on the road by like 1 o'clock. So we caught our fish, had a great day. We've got a Dynasty. It's a 118-gallon live well. And we made sure, we plugged every hole. Right before we got into the marina, we really flushed the water out good. Had oxygen. And then, like I said, the fish were extremely healthy. It's really the biggest thing, again, I go back to is fresh water. So whether you catch them out there fun fishing and you put them in your live well for an hour or two and you get lazy and maybe you're not in that tournament mode and your fish go belly up because you weren't taking care of them, that's a problem. So tournament anglers, in my opinion, do the absolute best of keeping their fish alive and healthy. We don't even weigh our fish. We put them straight in the live well, and then tag them just to kind of know, like, hey, this is a big or whatever. But we kind of just guess our weight, get them in the live well, keep them healthy. No way to circulate water if you're at ramp and 2 hours away from weigh-in, then sitting in line in another 2 to 4 hours or more of that 4 to 6 hours. Yeah, but again, it's having that healthy water. Not catching 3 fish, letting them puke up, and not putting fresh water in the boat. Justin, I'd like to see fish caught from protected waters. Missouri get released back into protected waters instead of releasing waters from protected limits. How does your goal determine is anything that you guys planned on changing to make that happen? Man, we're trying to do everything we can. That's again kind of like another event where, I guess kind of like a Cape Girardeau tournament where, you can go where you want by boat, but it's hard if such and such goes an hour up the Missouri River and catches his fish. It's hard to get those fish from his boat back to that ramp or wherever he caught his fish. The goal is just to get them back alive and healthy and released. The biggest thing that we're trying to do in Alton is A, get a ramp built below the dam, and B, get some regulations. Even with, back to the regulations. Sorry, I'm going on a rant. This is my last
No, you're
thing.
okay. No, you're doing great.
Regulation thing just is kind of, this is what I see is I can go tomorrow night with Nate and talk to the biologists, and we can do a big plan, have regulations, and this is awesome. Here's the problem. Who's going to follow that regulation? Number one, we don't have enough DNR to monitor that. So in my opinion, unless the laws are strict enough to say, hey, if you do this, you break the law in the state of Illinois, or you transfer fish from Missouri to Ohio or whatever, we're going to take your truck, your boat, your house, you're going to go to jail. Nothing, in my opinion, is going to change. So as the sport grows and we get more anglers that fish twisted cat or that fish, that travel like what we do, it's going to be tough. And like I've always said, as the sport grows, it's going to be tough to get regulations. But as tournaments get bigger, the people that fish and travel, we are traveling. We're ready to go next weekend.
Yeah.
Our goal is to get conservation and get serious about it, because we want to do this for a long time, and we want our son and kids to be able to do this when they're our age. And we've got to do something in a big way. So that's why, like I said, everybody has their own little group of people that, I don't like to make Facebook posts and say, hey, I've got a meeting tomorrow night with a fishery biologist out of Illinois. But there's things going on behind the scenes that I think a lot of people do, but don't take it to Facebook. And that's the people that we want to continue to try to build that.
Yep.
So hopefully that answered your question, Justin.
Yes, there are definitely things going on in the background that aren't being discussed. And I think, when we decided to do this podcast was to bring awareness to the topic of catfish conservation, to ask the hard questions, to get answers about the hard questions. But I do know, and we talked about it, the Safari Club and the BHA, I think that's what it was, the acronym for that, that Jeremy was talking about last week. There are people working, and Ashley and I wanted to just give a voice to when it's time that we can all take a bit of action by calling legislators and by, letting them know, we're in support of conservation of catfish for whatever the bill may be that's proposed. So that's why we're doing this. So I appreciate you answering that question. And like you said, things that may be done in the background that you guys don't know about, just like Liz working tournaments. We don't see what she's doing in that background, but she's working hard. So
Yes.
we answered that one already. So
that was a follow-up to what Alex said. That's why I put it on there.
oh, I'm sorry, he read that one already.
Yeah. And then Shay was asking about open tail or pinch tail. That's another loaded question, because every state's different. And then back to conservation again, you take Kansas. A lot of these states don't look at a catfish as a game fish. So we got to start there, that get these states even thinking that they care about catfish, because they want us to measure them on their side. I think it's ridiculous that you weigh a catfish on its side. You just cannot get a good measurement. And the states know that, and they tell us, yeah, it's in that because that's just the law that was written 15 years ago, and nobody, they wanted to change it. But, like I said, I think tournaments, the anglers that travel, the people on social media, if you dropped all those there, let's just say that there were no social media people, no tournaments, no sponsorships, you lose all the sponsors, like with Twisted Cat, you just drop all those people. Who pushes conservation?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of where I mean, like I said, that's kind of my question. And I think as it grows, as we get bigger companies involved and they start to see the outside eyes, and we have people that are traveling to come, I mean, we'll have people who drive 4 hours to come watch a weigh-in. We've got a father-son from Chicago that come down, usually take a guided trip with showing fishing, and then they watch the weigh-in. That's like one weekend they do every year, and they love it. They get to come up and see the fish, and I mean, it's just crazy. We watched them now for 4 years come to this tournament, and that's where I see the growth of conservation and that being changed to, hey, like this is a real thing. Like, we work with the cities, the states, the counties to show them, you know, we want to build spectators more than just the anglers.
Yeah. That Dr. Pepper looks so good.
Who's drinking Dr. Pepper? Oh, that does look good. I'm out of my Milos.
Yeah,
Almost.
I've got my water here. Whoop, whoop.
Oh, tell me to go roll.
Yeah, we literally got in the car and drove down the road because my service was still spotty at home. So we're sitting in the
Your
parking
service is good now.
Yeah, we can see you and hear you
lot.
now.
We're at Subway.
Oh gosh.
Get fresh and get some service. All right,
What's up,
Miss Ashley,
Devin?
do you have any questions? You guys, I have to get my kids from church. I don't have any help today, but I appreciate you answering all of my questions. I think you guys got about 15 minutes or so, but I have to get them. I appreciate seeing you guys and talking to you all. And Ashley, I'm glad you have service. So you can take it from here, sister.
Yep. See you later.
And
Joel.
I will leave this up, so I'll just mute my thing and go on. And if a cat jumps up, I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right. See you, Julie.
Y'all.
See ya.
So I think Julie's pretty much covered everything. Do you guys have a few minutes to talk about the Fishing for Freedom event that you guys help with?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we learned about that at CatCon. One of the guys, I forget which booth it was I gave him a flyer for our event, and he asked if we had heard about it, and I hadn't even heard of it because, again, like, we're so far away from you guys. That's why we don't get to fish much of your tournaments. But I came on and looked up some videos and was just truly amazed at that event. Like, that looks like such a good time for our veterans.
It is. And how long have we been a part of it now? 10 years?
Probably 10 years. This is the 15th anniversary this year, and we just had our latest meeting last night, and there are 176 boats, and they like to see that number like at 200. So every warrior gets that more one-on-one time with a boater. We have a spot for every veteran, but like I said, just more of that one-on-one time. So you're not crammed, and I don't know, you just get to spend more time with them and talk and fish out there.
Is it a
It's a
one-day
great,
So it's really, it starts like Thursday night. They do some stuff. Like sometimes they'll do like trap
like a meet-
shooting and
yeah.
meet and greet.
and then Friday night they have like maybe a fish fry dinner for the captain and the warriors, and also meet and greet if some of them are just getting into town. And then Saturday they have a more white tablecloth, real good dinner catered in. All the flags presented, and
Yeah,
they have
like
all
silent
that.
auction, and I mean, we just kind of go all out. I mean, it's
sometimes
really
there's some awesome speakers,
Oh, yeah.
that show up, and
this is
it's
in Illinois.
it's a cool event to, like I said, if you've never been a part of it. I remember the first one I did, like I was nervous, like I didn't know who I was going to get and what they would be like, and I didn't really know what I was doing fishing wise. But I learned it's not about catching fish. It's about going out, being in the boat. The first guy that I ever took out, like he still calls me today and says, "Hey, you need me to make any weights?" And he only lives about an hour and a half from our house, but you make a lot of friendships. And if anybody's interested, you can go to the Facebook page, Fishing for Freedom, And on the top and one of the saved deals, the video from 2 years ago really showcases, there was a guy from Charlotte, North Carolina that came, 10 years ago. He was thinking about suicide. He was an alcoholic, and he fished with Buddy Weisenberger. And he said that in this video, 10 years later, he's talking about now how it's changed his life. Like that was that turning moment. And now he's bringing his own boat from North Carolina and taking a veteran out. And that's like the whole goal. So it's really saved lives. And it's really just one weekend to give back. And there's so many. I mean, last night we probably had 20, 25 people there that are, we're all on the board, and we all have a different job to do, whether it's pushing the social media page or doing permits or going after sponsors, but the whole goal is to give back that weekend. And every piece of that event is unique from, once, like we do a weigh-in Hamilton, Illinois, which is about an hour from Quincy. We weigh the fish, weigh bass, crappie, catfish, and we put them back there. And then we parade all the way through these small towns. And every small town has fire trucks out. People are out with their flags. It's insane.
Waving.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do they get to pick
It's
when
awesome.
they want to fish for? Is that how you pair them?
Yeah, so usually like we get the boaters, and then we say, I want to fish pools 19 and 20, and I'm going to fish for catfish. And then a warrior says, I want to fish for bass or catfish. And then we try to do the best we can. And it usually works out pretty well. So like I might have 2 people in my boat, and it just kind of depends. But it's, we have a lot of people that bass fish. We got crappie. But it's all works out really well, and everybody really enjoys it. We pay for hotels for the warriors and the veteran or the boaters that come. We feed you. You probably don't even need to like buy food that weekend because there's just so much food that we cook throughout the weekend. And like I said, we take care of the hotel. We transport people to ramps, and then we have three or 4 different weigh-in sites, and then we all come back Sunday to Quincy to the riverfront there and go through again from each division. And then this year we're giving away a Sea Arc boat to a random warrior or boater. So like I said, it's a really cool event. If you've not been a part of it, this is the 15th year. It's something that if you do, I promise you that you will want to come back the year after. I mean, it's that much.
It's so rewarding.
It's so rewarding.
Yeah, I know I shared it with Anthony on our way home from CatCon, and he instantly said that he was going to make that a priority. And I'm so excited for him to get to participate in that and to see his videos from it. So
Yeah.
we're all of you guys that have been doing that stuff for a long time, but that is by far our favorite weekend of the year when we have our veterans event here in Ohio. So hopefully someday we can make it out there for that one.
Yeah, like I said, that kind of goes, and like when we put our calendar together now, we put all those events on them because it's not just the 13 Twisted Cat events. It's the Fishing for Freedom. It's 2 weeks after that, we have a kids youth rodeo that's got 4,000 kids that go to it. So we take the boat down there and show them how to cast a rod and reel and cast net and spend time with kids, trying to get them outdoors and give away a fishing trip. And like I said, there's a lot of things that we do that people may not know that we do, I guess. But but Fishing for Freedom is one of our probably top fun events.
Yeah.
That's really cool that you guys do that. Do you guys take volunteers? Like if they don't have a boat, somebody had commented on here and said, I don't know how to fish, but that sounds like a really great time. Is there other things that they could help with if they're interested?
Yeah, I could put Devin to work on a lot of different things, but I don't know that I agree he doesn't know how to fish. But yeah, no, we would. There's a lot of things, volunteer wise, that we're always looking to do.
I think on the Fishing for Freedom website, there's a boat sign up, there's a volunteer sign up, warrior registration. There's all that stuff. So for sure, yeah.
And back to like Julie's question earlier about what does it take to put on an event. There's so many things like last night, we want to get 10 side-by-sides just for Sunday. So once these almost 200 boats go through, we park them in a big field, and we don't want anybody to have to walk, 50 yards, 100 yards, especially if they've been out there and it's hot all day. So we have side-by-sides, go pick them up, take them to the tent where they're in shade. They've got food and drinks. So there's so many little things that you don't think about until you're in that position where you have a couple of events and like, oh, we should get side-by-sides for next year, or we should, have big ice tanks of water. Just there's like every year you'll learn something, and we've done that with Twisted Cat. Learned, what's one thing we can do to make it better, so everybody has a more enjoyable time.
Of all the places you guys have fished, is Louisiana favorite?
It's my favorite.
It's her favorite. Just
I
I've
got my
never.
PB down there, so that's my favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been to a place where, like, you can only use, especially on the Chaffalaya, like 3 rods, and then in Venice too, like you can't have more than 3 rods because you're just
Or
gonna.
you'll just have a tangled
It'll
up
be
mess,
chaos.
and that's just, you get if you haven't caught a fish on a rod after you throw it out, like after 3 minutes,
You don't have bait, or
I don't know. Maybe I don't
You
know.
threw the
You
bait
could probably throw out something without bait and catch something down there. Like, it's just wild.
Yeah, and we love, like, what's weird, and I was gonna ask you guys that, is we travel and we enjoy traveling. I see Julia said that's my favorite besides home. Like, we maybe fished at home twice last year. Like, we just like to travel and go to new places and see, like, the food and, just different bodies of water. We went to Milford and fished a tournament. That was really fun. We're super excited to go back down to Louisiana. There's some other water that we like to go to up in on the Red River, up in the Wisconsin. So we just want to travel and go to new places and just have fun.
I think that part also makes you a better angler. Also, you're just learning, you're putting yourself out there and learning more different bodies of water.
And
Yeah.
you meet people. Like, that's what we like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Meet people when you go to those places.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've met so many people over the years, that you just make friendships with, and
Like, we saw Charlie and Julie just out
yeah,
out there on the water.
we didn't even know it. Like, we were in Venice, and it was Thanksgiving weekend, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what.
so.
Yeah, and we were like, we thought we'd
Just
be the only
boating.
catfish people there, and then they're doing like a TikTok tournament, and we had a blast that day, and then we had to get back, but it's just cool. And then you get, like I said, you just get to meet so many new people. So many people like seen us and are like, what kind of boat is that? What are you guys fishing for? And they like fishing for the reds, the small reds. For whatever reason, they don't like chasing big reds, and I can't get Liz off of catching big reds. That's all she wants to
Crazy.
catch.
And shark, I mean, it's just insane.
Yeah. So I would say that's definitely our favorite place to fish, and like just going for us from being in Western Illinois
Like, to get away from
to get away from home, like, that's so different. You know what I mean? The food is different in Louisiana. How people treat you, how people talk, everything, and
good different.
a good different for sure. It's just so enjoyable. But yeah, we absolutely love to travel. Obviously, we travel a ton with Twisted Cat, but we love going to new places, which you got to work, I think, on. So I'll probably fish at home this week, but let's see.
Question for you, Alex.
Pool 23 on the Mississippi. Pool 23 would be like Clarksville. Yeah, so like right now should be really good. A lot of those fish are moving up. So where we live in Pool 20 on the Mississippi, during this, late spring and summer, blues and flatheads will travel up to spawn. So right now, usually until about the week after Fishing for Freedom, the fishing's pretty good. And then it's pretty slow for the month of June. And then July, it kind of picks back up. But yeah, no, you'll have some good luck. Just I would throw some big bait down there, and I think in Saberton, that's a good area.
Do you guys take
So-
time off from spawn? Like tournament?
Yeah, so really after fishing for freedom, we probably won't fish at all in June. We do the next weekend is a kids rodeo in Grafton, Illinois, which is down on Pool 26, and then the weekend actually
Like the next day.
the next day for a week we go to Florida, and then we
our personal vacation.
yeah, just for a personal vacation that we do every year, and then we have a Sierra Poker run. So really June is just kind of chill, and then July we get kicked back up in Perryville, Missouri, and then we go down to Vicksburg and help MC, and Liz is the new DJ down there. So that's something we did last year, is play music like as the boats come in, and that was pretty cool. But yeah, June is just a chill month for us.
Yeah, Vicksburg is probably our favorite. That was our first year there, but we're looking forward to it this year.
Yeah, no, that's a cool place too. I mean, the food, the atmosphere, the people. You know what I mean? It's just it's that Southern hospitality. I'm telling you.
Yep. I remember pulling into a gas station and somebody came over to talk to him about our boat. And I was listening to him talk, and I'm like, they really talk like that. Like, it's not just on TV.
Yeah, I remember when we went to Morgan City, Louisiana. It's hard to even understand some of them. Like, we didn't realize until the second time we went down there that is where
the Gator Show.
the Gator Show, like Swamp People, like Troy Landry and all them people, like that's where they're at, like chasing those alligators. Now, we never seen it. Well, we did see one.
Mm-hmm.
We did see one, but it was pretty, like, we got there and like a cold front came in.
We
But
saw dolphins out there just jumping out too.
yeah, it's that place for
It's
me
crazy.
is like, in my next life, I'm saying that I'm living in Morgan City, Louisiana. Like, if you like to fish, I don't know there's a better place than there.
That's what we keep getting told. Someday we'll make it there.
Well, it's not that much further past Vicksburg.
Yeah. Yeah, Vicksburg's what, 15 hours for us? So it's a haul.
I think Vicksburg's 12. Yeah, 12 for us.
Yeah.
We got a little jaunt.
It is a long drive, but it is worth it.
Try to go to Louisiana in between the Dry Creek tournament and the Bama Blues this year, and we decided to just stay in Alabama. Because we figured once we got there, we wouldn't want to leave.
No. No, that's what, and we went and fished the Missouri River. Yeah, after one of our Louisiana trips, we went to fish the Missouri, and like the Missouri can be really good, but not like more like Louisiana. So
The mini tourney.
yeah, Liz is like, this is not fun. Like, we haven't got a bite in 4 hours. Like,
I
what's
just got a
going
little
on?
bored with it. I mean, it's always fun, but I get impatient. I got very impatient after leaving Morgan City.
It will almost ruin you. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, if nobody else has questions for these guys, we'll wrap it up this evening. We really appreciate you guys hopping on here with us tonight. I apologize again for my technical difficulties.
And we'll have to have you guys on the on our Monday night podcast here soon.
Yeah, we'd love that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you have coming up next?
Well, we have local tournaments that we fish on the Ohio River. We have one this Sunday. We're fishing out of the Schmidt Ramp in Cincinnati. And then the end of the next weekend, we go to Sandusky for the Disabled Veterans Outdoors event. We're going up to Captain for that one. This is our first year up there for that, but we're excited for that. Because again, I like to see how different people do these veteran events so we can learn from it and expand on ours. And then we don't have anything. We have a couple local tournaments, and then Vicksburg's our main one that we're looking forward to this year.
Nice. So have you ever been to Sandusky before then?
Yeah, we have. We did walleye fishing up there last year, so we haven't really done the whole channel cat thing that they keep telling us it's on fire up there. Rod after rod, like you can double, triple up on channel cats up
Yeah,
there.
that's definitely that's on our list too. It's just, how far is that for you guys then?
3 hours.
3 hours. Yeah, it's a ways for us, I'd say, but it looks because don't they have an amusement park like somewhere close?
Cedar Point. Yep, it's a big one. Yep, it's right on the lake.
So does that freeze up there? Like you got to kind of fish that during the summer months, or
Yeah, it's best in the summer.
I bet it's cold up there when it gets cold.
Yeah, they have storms that come out of nowhere off that lake, and they can drop like inches of snow in a matter of minutes. Feet. He says feet of snow.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's definitely on our bucket list to go up to Sandusky. So you'll have to send us some pictures, let us know how that is.
Yeah, we definitely will.
So right now, what your favorite place to what you guys like? Vicksburg is right now your number one spot.
Well, I mean, we caught 2 fish tournament day last. That was our first time we'd ever been there, and with it being so high, like we didn't really know what we were doing. We were kind of, figuring it out, and we didn't figure it out till the afternoon. So that's why we're excited to get back this year. We love Alabama just because we've been there the most. We get time off work, and that we go to Alabama. We like Wheeler. We hit Gunnersville last time we were down there, but Charlie and everybody keeps telling us once we go to Louisiana, we'll rethink Alabama.
And I that's kind of what I said too. But I looked back like our first tournament of the year. The Bama Blues we took over. That was a heck of a weigh-in. I think we hit that pretty good, and then the Sea Art tournament we hit. I mean, it was another good weigh-in. But I mean, I don't know that we'll ever. I don't know. We've seen a lot of good fish. A lot of people caught their PBs during Bama Blues, from like up in our neck of the woods, like from Iowa and stuff. So it was cool to see that. We did lose boats that, like Kansas and Missouri. Some of them people we either go back on Saturday morning and skip the tournament or
you got snowed in for about 3 more
yeah,
days.
because we didn't get home till, was it Tuesday?
Yeah, because I missed 2 days of work.
When did you guys get home? Did you guys miss the snow?
No, we just stayed. We knew it was going to hit, and we didn't want to be driving the boat back in that, so we stayed till Thursday. And then we left Thursday morning, and they got it in Alabama Thursday afternoon. They'd already had emergency alerts out when we left.
Yeah, that was that. I wanted to change. We wanted to change the date to Friday so bad, but the wind was brutal, and it is what it is. But it was still fun to watch. I'll never forget the picture of Craig Williams's Pro Cat. He decided to drive home, and you couldn't even tell what a boat it was.
No.
Yeah, we won't ever forget that Bama Blues one because was cold and I didn't want to drop the fish on camera. Do you remember that? And we pulled up, and you're like, "Oh, she's getting the gloves out. Must be a good one." We had 14 pounds of fish in our live well. Find them in the live well. He's like, "You're really making me go through this weigh-in line." I'm like, "Yes, we are."
Oh, I always tell people, especially if you're spending the money and the time, like some of the best pictures Tom has probably got are people with Greg Holtgrave with the little flathead. So we call him the Flatty Daddy now. And mess them. But it's a really good picture. But yes, I wish you didn't bring that up because that brings me nightmares of how cold it was. We were already thinking about next year. What are we gonna do? We got to have heaters. It was brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
They call me Jesse No Fishy.
Yeah, did you hear him? He said he's afraid you're gonna name him Jesse No Fishy.
Oh no. I don't think they've decided yet.
There was a comment on here. Miss Cindy White asked if we were fishing Evansville on Saturday, and no, we are not. We will be down on the Ohio getting ready for a tournament down there on Sunday.
Well, hey, we really appreciate you both having us on and had a lot of fun. And anytime you want us to talk about catfishing, conservation, or fishing in Louisiana, we're in. So
absolutely, yep, we'll have you on again. Maybe we can do it again. You're fishing for freedom or one of your big events.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe, yeah, after Fishing Freedom, maybe maybe even that Monday, we could jump on the Twisted Cat podcast or whatever. So
Yeah.
let's chat about that. And if you need anything else from us, let us know. And it was super fun being on here with you guys.
Yeah, and I just want to let everybody know, since I was having so many technical difficulties with our drawing, when I get home, I'm going to try it again, and we'll just do it from our Last Call Catfishing page. So I'll go live on there to do the drawing, but I didn't forget. I promise I will get it done. Just got to figure out some internet issues.
Okay. Well, hey, enjoy Subway.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good evening.
All right. See you
Thank
both.
you.
We appreciate it.
Bye.